In this video, we will discuss about remove subfolders from the file system. Given a list of folders folder, return the folders after removing all subfolders in those folders. You may return the answer in any order. So what they are saying is that in the input, you are given an array of strings where each string is denoting a folder, right? Now you need to identify that out of these folders, which are subfolders and which are not subfolders. Then you need to remove all the subfolders from this array and whatever are the remaining elements that you need to return as your answer. Now what is the definition of a subfolder? So if you consider this one, for this, what is the parent folder? A, right? So if this A is present in this array, then that means this will be a subfolder. So if you see A is present here, so then that means this is a subfolder of A, right? Then if you see this case here, C is the parent folder of E, right? And CD together is also a parent folder of E, right? So if in this array either C or CD is present, then this will be considered as a subfolder, right? So here CD is present, then that means this is a subfolder of CD, right? If let's suppose instead of this /C would be present here, then also this would be considered as a subfolder of this, right? Then if we see for this one, CNF, so here the parent is C, right? But C is not present in the array. So this is not a subfolder. But if /C would be present, then this would be considered as a subfolder of C, right? So you need to remove all the subfolders from your array and then you need to return it as your answer, right? So now what we need to do is that for every folder, we need to check whether its parent folder is present in the array or not, right? So what you can do, you will traverse in the array and for every folder, you will check whether its parent folder is present in the array or not. And for finding out, you will again traverse in the array, right? So instead of doing n cross n, can we think of something else? Can we sort this array? If we'll sort this array, then what will happen that for any subfolder, its parent folder will be present just before it, right? Because if we'll sort this, then here it is already sorted. Then let's suppose it was present like this, right? Then when you would have sort these elements, then /A would come first and then /A/B would come, right? So if you will sort this array, then for every subfolder, its corresponding parent folder, if it exists, right, it will appear just towards the left of it, right? So in this case, our array is already sorted. So after the sorting operation, we'll get the same array, right? So now once we have sorted the array, now what we need to do is that for every folder, we will check that what is the folder present just before that, right? And then if this folder is starting with the previous folder, then can we say that this is a subfolder of this, right? Because if you see in this case, C, D and E, it is starting with the previous folder which is /C/D, right? So yes, it is a subfolder of this, right? And then if you see these two cases or let's see these two cases, right? In these two, for this CF, you will check that whether it is starting with CDE. It is not starting with CDE. That's why this is not a subfolder of this, right? Now let's suppose if /C would have been present, then in that case, after sorting, you would get /C/C/F, right? Then in that case, you would have seen that this is starting with /C, then that means this is a subfolder, right? So what we are doing is, first we are sorting the array, right? First we are sorting the array. Then what we want is that for every folder, we need to check its previous folder, right? Now for the first folder, is it going to be always a parent folder? Yes, right? Because for this, there won't be any parent folder present in our array, right? So this /A, we can directly put it in our answer, right? So let's suppose we have an answer variable result. So in our result, initially we will keep /A as is, right? Then we will start from the second folder. That is, we will start from the index 1 till the end, right? And then what you need to check is, first of all, you need to take the last folder, right? You take the last folder, and what will be the last folder? The last element present in your result, right? Because we need to consider parent folder. We do not need to consider a subfolder, right? And in this result, we will only store the parent folders. That's why whatever is the last element in the result, that will become our last folder. So whatever is the result's last element, that will take here, right? Now, since for this, what will be the last folder? /A, right? So we will also add a slash to the last folder so that we do not miss any case, right? Then when you would be comparing these two, then this would have become /A/. Now you need to check whether this string is starting with this string or not, right? So we'll check that. Check if your current folder, which will be folder of I, right? So check if folder of I starts with last folder, right? We'll check if it is starting with the last folder or not. Now, if it is starting with the last folder, then that means it is a subfolder, right? Then we don't have to do anything, we'll just move forward, right? But if it is not starting, if it is not starting with the last folder, then that means this is not a subfolder and we should include it in our answer, right? So if it is false, in that case what we'll do is, in the result we will push our current folder, right? We will push our current folder, and that's it. You are done. You are done identifying all the folders which are parent folders. So in the end, you can simply return your result, right? So I hope you got it. Let's code it out now. So first of all, as I said, we would need to sort the folders array. So we'll do sort folder.begin, folder.end, right? Then we'll create an answer vector which will be of type string. Let's name it result. Then the first folder in your folders array will always be a parent folder. So in our result, we'll push the first folder, right? After that, we will start from the second folder, that is I equals to 1 till the end, and we'll do I plus plus. Then at every iteration, we will find out the last folder. Your last folder will be results last element. So result dot back, right? Then in the last folder, we will append a slash, right? Then we need to check whether folder of I is starting with this last folder or not. So for that, what we'll do is we'll check that if folder of I dot compare 0, last folder dot size, last folder is not equals to 0. So what this compare function is doing, so let's suppose last folder's size is L. So it is comparing that whether the L characters starting from the 0th index of folder I matches with last folder or not. So meaning we are checking whether the first L characters of folder I are equal to the last folder or not, right? So if folder of I is not starting with the last folder, in that case, this condition will return us true, right? So in that case, it is not a subfolder. So we will push it inside our result. What will push? Folder of I, right? And in the end, we'll just return our result. Okay. So let's run this now. So our test cases are accepted. Let's submit this. So it got accepted. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe our channel.